What's going on?
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is bluffing this time around. He says his calf is hurting. As a matter of fact, feeling worse than it did before the Dallas game.
Packers fan.
See, and she's going to save me from all these Seahawks fans that have been causing us so much trouble.
I say, let's slide into it. What do you guys think?
Yeah!
Let's go! Woo! For the 9th time in their last 11 tries, they beat the Minnesota Vikings, this time, no, at TCF Bank Stadium. Yeah, Earl. We reported this at 9 o'clock, Bill, that Carlos Gomez being traded to the New York Mets, but general manager of the Mets, Sandy Alderson, saying there is no trade. Red and black confetti here in Indianapolis, but this is not a Bucky party. Instead, Wisconsin falling to the Duke Blue Devils. Certainly the Packers know playoff losses, and they know devastating playoff losses. Think back to 2003. After that season, the Packers losing to the Eagles in the NFC divisional round. Fast forward 4 years, the NFC Championship game, Brett Favre's last game as a Green Bay Packer, the Packers losing to the New York Giants at Lambeau Field. But this game right here may trump both of those losses. Frank Kaminsky among the self-titled white guys of the Wisconsin Badgers. Now, I already know folks are going to complain, Earl, why are you making this a race thing? Earl, it doesn't have to be about color. Well, I took a little stroll on Instagram because I guess that's what the kids do these days, and I looked at Sam Decker's Instagram page. He describes himself in 2 words, white boy. Now, on the basketball court, it may have a negative connotation, but the Badgers, they actually embrace it. Take a listen. How do the Badgers think the rest of the country sees them?
Disciplined.
Unselfish.
Tough.
But then Frank Kaminsky dropped the bombshell.
White guys.
Yeah, we can laugh all we want, but there is a sort of disrespect when it comes to the Badgers and how they look.
Sometimes you kind of fail that eye test. I know me personally, I've heard comments about how I look like I'm asleep all the time. I don't know where that came from.
Aesthetically, we're not as pretty as some other teams, but we kind of relish in that. We kind of liked it because a lot of teams do doubt us, I think.
At first glance, this team might not look so tough, but I tell you what, this team got to the Final Four for a reason, and anyone that knows basketball knows the Wisconsin Badgers are for real.
They're very well respected because they play the game the right way. They share the basketball. They defend you. So you can see that these guys play with an edge, and that's good.
They were a 2 seed. They had one of the best and most impressive non-conference schedule in terms of some of the teams they beat.
The thing that impresses me the most about them is that they can win at any speed. And they can win if you want to play in the 40s or win that game. What is it? They've won games in the 40s all the way through the hundreds this year.
Thrust for 3. Yes.
But for even basketball, the lesson comes down to something our parents taught us at home.
It doesn't really matter how you look, what you're wearing, anything. Well, if you can play, you can play. If you can ball, you can ball.
People can say, we look like this and we look like that. We look like a bunch of white guys, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
What did I learn on this trip? Well, I didn't really learn it, but, white men can't jump, and not only can they jump, they can play ball, too. The Wisconsin Badgers showing the country just that, and they could do it on an even grander stage here tomorrow against the Kentucky Wildcats in the national semifinal.
Now, the Sports Zone with Earl Arms.
Nope, not even another dirty play from the Lions and Ndamukong Suh is going to stop Aaron Rodgers and the Packers from claiming their 4th straight NFC North title. Rodgers retaliating there, but that happening in the 4th quarter, but to no avail. That's because it's all about the MVP. MVP, yes, as the fans chanted. Injured calf and all, Rodgers coming back to the field and doing what it seems like only he can do, leading the Packers to victory, but what a game it was. Yes, from the start, the Packers on the goal line on 4th down get stuffed by the Lions in their opening series in their Milwaukee zone. DeAndre Levy on the stop, but kill the special teams. Micah Hyde, a punt return earlier this year, one last year. 3rd career punt return, opening up the scoring in the NFC North title game. 55 yards, giving the Packers the lead. Aaron Rodgers, though, check that out, making it 14-0, but goes down, wasn't even touched with the injured calf. Ends up being carted to the locker room. Detroit would then capitalize a touchdown right before the half. Then another here in the 3rd quarter to tie the game, both to Calvin Johnson. 14 all. Rodgers missing a series, but he would come back in the biggest way. This time going to Randall Cobb again. 2nd touchdown for both on the day. Rodgers, 17 of 22, 226 yards. Then to ice it in the 4th. Don't know if this was the call, but Rodgers sneaking it in himself. 3 touchdowns total on the day. So with this injured calf, strained calf, whatever you want to call it, 30-20, the Packers winning the NFC North. Kevin Holden, with more from Green Bay.
Well, Earl, the Packers end up with
All right, thanks a lot, Kevin. Now the NFC playoff picture all set. Green Bay, the 2 seed, they will play Sunday, January 11th. Seattle, though, they're the top seed with their win over St. Louis. Now, wild card weekend, that will match up Detroit at Dallas. Then in the other wild card matchup, Carolina with their 7-8-1 record, they won the NFC South. They will host Arizona on Saturday, January 3rd. Lions and Cowboys, that is January 4th. Now, looking toward the bottom of the NFC North, the Vikings and the Bears. Low-scoring game, but Minnesota coming out on top. Teddy Bridgewater to Adam Thielen, 44 yards. The only touchdown of the game, Vikings winning 13-9. They finished their season 7-9. And it's official. Jim Harbaugh and the San Francisco 49ers parting ways after their win against Arizona to close out the season. It's a mutual agreement, but when asked about the Michigan job, Harbaugh saying nothing to be said right now. Harbaugh fully expected to be named the new head coach at his alma mater, the University of Michigan. Now, from the NFC to the AFC, we salute Mr. J.J. Watt, a Houston Texan, of course, but a Milwaukee native, a former Badger doing big things in the NFL, some things no one has ever done. For example, this sack, one of 3 for him on the day, but with it, he becomes the first player in NFL history with 20 sacks in 2 separate seasons. 20.5 sacks in 2012, 20.5 sacks in 2014 here. Texans, they get the win, but they are eliminated from playoff contention. Baltimore, they get in instead. Now to some current Badgers hosting Buffalo. And the newest football coach, former Whitewater coach Lance Leipold in the building, watching his Bulls take a halftime lead. Xavier Ford helping him take a 1-point lead in the halftime to the Badgers. They turn up 14-zip run to start the second half. Nigel Hayes, 3 of his 9 points. Then we get Frank the Tank going. Kaminsky, a game high, 25 points, 11 rebounds. Check him out off the inbound. Badgers, they overcome a slow start. They win 68-56. 6th-ranked Badgers opening Big Ten season against Penn State. That's Wednesday, New Year's Eve. Marquette beating Morgan State today, 81-53. Luke Fisher with 15 points to lead the Golden Eagles, but UWM, they fall to South Dakota. Should be an exciting week in a couple weeks, you know, once the Packers get back into it. But yeah, they really needed that bye.
Do you blame Olivia Munn for Aaron Rodgers' calf injury?
I think she's an easy scapegoat. I'm not going to go there, though. I'm not going to.
She's off the hook?
No, I
I'm pretty
can't
sure
do it,
she's
no.
off the hook.